The 7 Acres 2015 press conference. We do appreciate all of you coming. The more people we can tell our story to, the better. This is an old story with a new twist. As you know, the Texas Medicaid program has not changed substantially throughout the decades, and this year poses particular threats and challenges for the frail elderly who are living in Texas nursing homes. With me today is George Lineal, the president of Leading Age. Ron Jeanette, who's come a long way, is the chair of Leading Age Texas. Marsha Caton, who is one of our administrators here. Gary Schwartz, who's the president of 7 Acres, and we're so appreciative for them being here. The Texas Medicaid program has been underfunded for many, many years. The implication for our frail, deserving elderly people who live in Texas nursing homes is significant. For 7 Acres, over 80% of our residents are on Medicaid, and that is our mission and our vision to serve all who need our services. That translates into a $33,000 a year loss for every Medicaid resident we have here. Over 80% of our residents are on that program. That cumulatively translates into an $8.1 million loss for 7 Acres and our residents. My position has been clear for decades. We don't own the elderly in this community. They live at 7 Acres as part of our community. They just happen to live on the Cohen Wing, room 320. So when underfunding occurs, which has been static for so many years with the Texas Medicaid program, it is not a 7 Acres issue. It is an issue for all of us in our community. But more importantly, it's an issue for the residents who are here for our care. Nursing homes have closed in the state, as you well know. There will be continued closing. But the new chapter in the book of the Medicaid program is managed care. That is a new chapter that all of us have to deal with. There will be increasing expenses that we have to deal with, and George is going to talk about that in just a minute, a little bit more. But those are the issues that we have asked you to come and listen to our story and tell that story to our constituents throughout the community. We are very grateful to our donors who help us make up that difference, but at some point in time, we will be unable to do that. But never, ever at 7 Acres or in any Leading Age home that I know of will care ever be compromised because of money. But at some point in time, as the elderly and the gray wave hits, there will be serious problems for us to deal with. So I'd like to now call upon George Lineal, who is the president of Leading Age and has been that leader for many years and has taken that agency and organization a long way. I'm so glad George drove here last night and missed the rain, but we're glad to have you. George?
Thank you, Malcolm. I'm pleased to be here, and again, also pleased to have a couple of our board members here, Ron Jeanette from Methodist Retirement Communities, Patrick Crump from Buckner Baptist. And I'm just thinking between just these three organizations, 7 Acres, Buckner, and MRC, there's almost 275 years of service to the elderly in Texas. And that speaks to the not-for-profit difference, is that we're here for the long haul. We're here to put money back into the community, serve the elderly in the community. And as Malcolm said, the Medicaid program has been underfunded for as long as we can remember. In fact, I believe from what I know, the last time the Medicaid program was funded according to the formula based on the state was 1989. So it's been a long time. It has been a long time. And we have steadily, because of inflation, as you all know, medical inflation goes up faster than regular inflation, keep falling further and further behind. Right now, according to the state's own estimates, we're 14% behind. We were 14% behind 2 years ago. We did get a slight increase, but of course that increase has been accounted for inflation, has stayed, that 14% has stayed the same. So with that amount of loss, it's difficult to maintain quality of care. And we're concerned about access to quality care. And I know that under the managed care program, that was the whole purpose of moving to managed care, was the state's purpose was to increase access. And they've actually, according to in the legislative session these last few months, they've actually put in a pay increase for physicians because they were concerned about access, physician access to the Medicaid program. They have not done so far to nursing homes. And my concern is that they are not as concerned about quality. And I'm concerned about what is going to happen to quality care in nursing homes if these chronic underfunding continues. Now we are aging rapidly. Texas is aging. By 2030, almost 7 million Texans are going to be over 60. And about 1 million Texans in 2030 are going to be over 85. So we have to deal with this issue as a state, and we call on the legislature to actually put in some increases for the Medicaid program. Now, we all know that there's got to be a longer-term sort of financing solution, and we are working on something like that at the national level. But until that happens, we just can't let seniors have poor quality of care. So, a little bit about the numbers. For every percent, actually, to fully fund the Medicaid rate, the 14% would take about $343 million from state funds. That's also matched by federal funds, and that would cover the 14%. So that translates to about $19.5 million per 1%. So we just call on the legislature to actually do their due diligence and do their duty and fund senior living for the frail elderly in Texas. Malcolm, do you have any other?
Yeah, George, could you address just a little bit about what nursing homes and all of our employees, our precious employees, contribute to the economy? It's often thought, well, nursing homes don't pay their fair share into the economy. But if you look at the thousands of nursing home employees who are employed here in Texas, I think the numbers are very, very significant in terms of what we contribute back to the economy.
Yeah, we've actually done some analysis on that. And actually, Texas nursing homes contribute about $14.5 billion to the Texas economy. So the Medicaid program, while some view it as a drain, it actually is an economic stimulator. If you look at how many, this is a very labor-intensive field. If you look at not-for-profits in particular, they have very high staffing levels. And it's a very high person-to-person contact. That is what senior care is all about. So all those paid employees generate money for the local economy. And so that money sort of multiplies over time and around the state. So the other thing I want to mention is, Malcolm mentioned the change to managed care. That's been a sort of a sea change in the way Medicaid is paid for and services are coordinated. So what that means is that as of March 1st this year, the state's nursing homes had to go into the Medicaid managed care program. Prior to that, 7 Acres would just bill one entity, the state of Texas, for paying for Medicaid. Now in Houston, there are 3 managed care companies that they have to deal with. That's 3 different payers, 3 different standards, 3 different service coordinators that they have to deal with. This is all adding more of an administrative burden to the facilities. And again, that is not accounted for in the Medicaid rates.
Thank you, George. Articulate as ever. I'd like to call on now Ron Jeanette, who's the chair of Leading Age Texas. I think it's important for all of you to know what Leading Age is, what they do, because you hear this name Leading Age, and you may not know what this wonderful organization is doing. Ron is the chair of the board, and I'm so pleased to have him here, but I think it's important for him to tell you who and what Leading Age is. Ron?
Thank you, Malcolm. It's a pleasure to be here. Appreciate the opportunity. Also, as the president and CEO of Methodist Retirement Communities all throughout East Texas, this issue that we've discussed today, and I will not reiterate it. You've already heard the message loud and clear, but it's vitally important to us and the people we serve, just as it is to the wonderful people that are served here at 7 Acres. Leading Age Texas is our state association for nonprofit senior living communities. We have nursing homes, we have assisted living communities, we have continuing care retirement communities. It's all about serving not-for-profit organizations who are serving seniors throughout the state of Texas. Most of the not-for-profits tend to be faith-based organizations or some affinity at least with a mission to serve the people in their area in the places where they are forever. So we're not here trying to build a building, trying to flip the building and make a profit off the building. We're not trying to make a profit off of Medicaid, frankly. We'd like to be paid at least what it costs just to serve the wonderful people who are in our communities. And the people who are in our communities, these are people like our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, our grandparents. They're people just like each one of us. As the world ages, if we're lucky, we get to grow old too. Maybe we're going to need these services one day ourselves. So if we treat people right today, then we'll be treated right tomorrow. And that's part of what we're trying to accomplish. I believe the not-for-profit mission is, and this is not to put down the for-profits whatsoever, but we're here exclusively to serve our mission. We know we have to have enough money to continue our mission, to continue our service, but we're here to serve the people, to serve the senior population, which we hope to be one day. And that's what it's all about. Thank you.
Ron, can you just take just a second, maybe George can help. How many leading age homes are there? How many residents live in our wonderful facilities? Can you talk a little bit about the statistics on that?
Sure. Sure. We have roughly 240 communities or organizations in our membership, and they, as Ron said, the real gamut of senior care, from hospice to nursing facilities to assisted living to independent living to CCRCs, adult daycare, home care, even some what we call naturally occurring retirement communities, which are basically neighborhoods that have gotten together and wanting to just stay in their neighborhoods and just contract with services. So these are the aging services field is changing as rapidly as the rest of the world. So there's much more options out there than there were even a few years ago. I think we have about 30,000 Texans that are residents or served by our members.
I'd like to now call upon Marcia Caton, who's one of our administrators and a board member with Leading Age Texas. She's been with 7 Acres for 27 years. She doesn't look it, but she has. And she's going to talk just a little bit about the legislative actions that we're taking with our senators and congressmen up in Austin to try and influence the positive aspect of legislation. After Marcia speaks, we'll be glad to take any questions from the constituents. Thank you.
So a good question would be, why do we have to have a press conference on something that's a legislative action? Because we have to somehow get the word out, and we have tried and we will continue to try to work with our legislators. I feel that Leading Age Texas has made big inroads in the last 10 or 12 years, credibility with our senators and representatives, but we're just not getting the response on the budget. meet with us. In January, we had about 75 of our constituents from leading age visiting every single senator and legislator. Some of them we had breakfast with, some of them we went to their office, some of them we had group meetings, we took information. We have continued that effort almost on a daily basis, right, George? Daily basis. Senator Schwartzner, he has George on speed dial. Senator Joan Huffman, the same thing. So these people are very well known. The Austin office, the constituents out here in our faith-based nonprofit homes, but we truly are not getting a response. It does not look positive for us this year for the nursing home Medicaid rate, and so if we don't get the word out and get everyone to say, hey, 14%, but that 14% was based upon last state cost study, not 2015. So we're already now at least 4 years behind on those figures. Is that the right? We're 4 years behind on that 14%. But since that, we now have the Affordable Care Act, and I believe almost every organization and business in Texas will tell you we're all spending more because of the Affordable Care Act. We have cost of living on top of that. So the 14% is not really even enough. That was based upon the cost study that was done, I think it was 4 years ago, the cost study. But so we are trying our best to get the word out, and it's not because we're not out there trying to speak to the legislators, trying to speak to the representatives, the senators, lieutenant governor. We are doing our best to get that message out because someday anyone as a Texan may face needing a nursing home and be indigent on Medicaid.
I'm just going to make a wrap-up comment that we'd be glad to answer any questions. In the 35 years that I've been here and been in practice for a long time, I keep saying the same question over and over again. Who speaks for them? Who speaks for the elderly in our nursing homes? Who speaks for those people who cannot speak for themselves? And it is us. It is the 7 acres and it is the elder care facilities we have. Our obligation is clear and unwaverable. They are those people that we take care of through a wonderful mission and vision. And without proper funding, the wonderful nursing homes that are in this state will not be here. And that's the truth, and that's the fact. We know that many homes have closed because of funding, and when a nursing home closes, you can't imagine the crisis that these families have. A letter goes out in 30 days saying that this Medicaid facility will close and you need to come pick up the parents. Who speaks for them? And who knows about where they go and what they do? So our mission and vision is very clear. We're not looking, as Ron says, we're not looking to make a profit. We are looking to just fund the care we need, which is very, very important for us. So that's our story, and we're sticking to it. And we'd be glad to answer any questions that anyone may have. Okay. All right, well, thank you all for coming to our press conference, and we hope you take this message forward. Thank you all very much.